agreed, that was an agreement of men saying, that's why we do handshakes today. Make sure you ain't your enemy either, stab you. But you do that. You say, I agree. A man's word was his word. Now we need contracts and all type of stuff. Here we go. They gave him the right hands of fellowship. The opposite of that is the left boot of rejection. You know how I know? Because if you were like me and you learned the word rightly divided and you love those people at your old church and you started sharing it with you and they look at you like you're crazy, go ahead and try to share it with the pastor. Guess what you get? The left boot of rejection right on out of there. Oh, yeah. They kick you right on out of there. Say, you get out here with that damnable doctrine, that cultish doctrine. You make too much of Paul. I've been there. And if you've been doing this with your saved people, the people you came out of church, you get that too. The cross is shame and rejection. That's what he means. Go back to Romans chapter 16. So when you read about this chosen in the Lord, Rufus, this guy Rufus, look there at verse 13. Salute Rufus, chosen in the Lord. When Paul talks about chosen in the Lord, Paul understood that this young man Rufus, based on something that took place in his life years ago, where he watched those Roman soldiers grab his father and compel him, make him carry the Lord's cross. And they watched this, and they saw that, and they believed on the Lord, and there's a bunch of things, the resurrection, all that happened. And Paul looks back at that, and Paul has an understanding that through watching the Lord be rejected by the nation of Israel and those Romans, this guy became a believer. And Paul never forgets that type of stuff. And I bet he wrote that or had Tertius write it with a smile and says, verse 13, salute Rufus, chosen in the Lord. By the way, the mother was there too. That man would bring his entire family, like I was showing you in Ephesians. The father's, it's not just the man's job to bring his wife into the doctrine, if she's willing. He's definitely, fathers, you got to teach her. God put the teaching of the children in the hands of the father. Galatians says the time appointed to the father. The primary duty for me as a father is to teach our child when she comes. It's both, but I have the head. God is going to hold me accountable. The fathers was to lead the spiritual worship, to bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. That guy, Simon, he saw all of that, and he looked at his sons. He says, this is Messiah. He looked at his wife. This is Messiah, who we've been waiting on. And they said, yes, his whole house. Now, from what I get here, probably by this time, Simon had died and gone to be with the Lord. Look at chapter 16 of Romans, verse 13. Salute Rufus, chosen in the Lord, and his mother in mind. I say that for a few reasons. Simon was from Cyrene. It looks like Rufus is here with his mother. If his father was still alive, his mother would still be with her. I mean, assuming they weren't divorced or something, but they were believing. I'm assuming if his father was still alive, Paul would have greeted the father there if he was in Rome. It looks like the son is still alive, and the mother is still alive. She's a believer in mine. Now, what's interesting to me, I'm just speculating. He had a brother named Alexander there. He didn't mention that. So maybe Alexander's just not here. Or maybe Alexander didn't believe. Continue on. Who knows? I know Rufus and his mother are still there. So I'm assuming the father is now dead. Like when the Lord was dying, he put his mother Mary in the hands of John. He says, woman, thy son. Sons are there to protect their moms from Satan's policy of evil if they don't have a husband, that type of stuff, okay? Well, that's what's going on here. So that's what he means. Verse 13, salute Rufus, chosen in the Lord, and his mother in mind. All right, the name Rufus, if I know you're taking notes, it means red. Interesting to me, I'll tell you when we add up the name. Red, Adam, over there in the Hebrew, Adam, it means red earth man. Red earth man. I remember when my uncle lived in Georgia before he died, my mother and I, we visited. It's red clay everywhere. I had never seen red clay like that. Georgia, it's everywhere. It's nuts. We got black dirt. They got red dirt. Red, okay? Type of the Gentiles, okay, who believe. Okay? All this stuff has to do with the body of Christ. But, so it means red. Rufus means red, and we'll add that up. And his mother and mine. We got a few more minutes. Let's go with me, if you will, to verse 14. Salute Asyncritus, Phlegon, Hermas, Patrobas, Hermes, and the brethren with them. So it looks like there's a whole community of saints there, and these are probably the principal ones who are of note of by the Apostle Paul. Let me give you these names so you can add these up. Again, we're going to go through them at the end as well. What's the first one? Asyncritus equals incomparable or uncomparable. You can't compare them to anyone else. Incomparable. What's the next one? Phlegon. He means burning zeal. Burning zeal. And again, we're going to go through all this. We're going to hold a whole message just for the names. Hermas. When we get to the book of Acts, where they call Paul and Barnabas two gods named Jupiter and Mercurius, Hermas, they're the same god. One is the Greek way and one is the Roman way. So Hermas means Mercury, and we'll see this when we're in the book of Acts, which means the herald of God, the herald of God, or we would say the chief speaker. That's what they call Paul. These Gentiles in Acts called the Apostle Paul Mercurius, one of their gods. He was the chief speaker. And Barnabas they called Jupiter, I believe. So Hermas means the herald of God or the chief speaker. What's the next guy? You got Hermes. Hermes. Hermas. Sorry about that. Hermas. And Patrobas. This was Hermas. Patrobas. In the steps of his father, or someone who follows the Father, in the steps of the Father. Hermes, by the way, just a different spelling of that, it means the same thing. Chief speaker or herald of God. Chief speaker, okay? They're kind of the same root word, Hermes and Hermas, okay? Look at verse 15. See how much time we got? Yep, we got 15. Salute Philologus. Now you can kind of see what that is. Philo and logos. Yeah, you can see exactly. You can see the word in there. Philo, like Philadelphia, means city of brotherly love. There's a Greek word for love. Philo means lover or love, lover. Logos, in the beginning was the Word was with God, the Word was God, John 1. That Greek word for the Word is logos. So that's lover of the Word.